Hello everybody, welcome to the Lagoon. It's Gill-boy here, and I'm coming at you with a very special video. I know it's been a long time since you've seen me here at the Lagoon. The Lagoon's been under construction, and there's been a lot of drama between me and Melkor. Just so you know, the reason why there's not been any Melkor videos is because, well, he's in jail. He got arrested for, well, things that aren't really for me to say, but he's under investigation for perhaps some missing people who have turned up, you know, not alive anymore. And they were formerly a part of his band. So I thought, to fill the void, seeing it is my channel anyways, that I'd make a very special metal review. Also kind of showing off some of my stuff. Now, I'm going to be gone for about 2 weeks, so I wanted to go ahead and make a little special video in celebration of some of the things that are going to be happening on my trip with the wife. And that is, we are going to see the legendary band known as Slayer. Fucking Slayer! So anyways, we're going to discuss one of their most iconic albums of all time, and is often considered one of the best metal albums of all time, and that is Rain in Blood. Now, I got into Slayer when I was really a young Gill-boy here at the Lagoon, having to go through special classes, you know, being a fish abomination. You can't really go to school with the same kids, but I found comfort in Slayer's music, and I used to have quite a bit of Slayer shirts. Unfortunately, I can't fit in them anymore since I'm a grown Gill-boy now. But I used to get sent home all the time for their shirts because of their satanic iconography and just their shirts being, you know, full of pentagrams, skulls, Satan, demons, and other horrific things. And then, of course, here's the back of the record and all of that. And let's go ahead, get that out, the vinyl. Really nice. So yeah, I've already sleeved this bad boy, so there's no point in doing that. But I just kind of wanted to discuss this album and kind of the history of it. Gotta get my specs on so I can oversee some of my notes here. But yeah, so this is Slayer's third studio album, and you know, they are considered a thrash metal band, and this album was released on October 20th, 1986 by Def Jam Recordings, and Slayer being a very iconic American thrash metal band. Now, this was the first album of the band's collaboration with producer Rick Rubin, whose input helped, you know, kind of improve their sound, or made their sound kind of evolve, however you look at it, because it kind of started out with kind of that you know, kind of proto-black metal sound, and now we're moving more into that kind of like hardcore thrash, you know, kind of speed metal sound. Now, the release date of the album was delayed, unfortunately, because of concerns regarding the lyric subject matter of the opening track, Angel of Death. And now this is a song that is written by, about Joseph Mengele, who was a horrific SS Nazi who did human experimentations at Auschwitz concentration camps. Now, the band's members have stated repeatedly over and over and over again that they do not condone Nazism and are very much opposed to it, but are interested in the subject matter, seeing as how their songs are always about how the lowest and the worst and as evil as humanity can go. And of course, there's not much more evil than, you know, Nazism, especially medical abuse and all the horrific things that went on there. So, Rain in Blood is, you know, no surprise to anybody. It was really well received by both critics and fans, and was really responsible for bringing Slayer to the mainstream audience that at the time. And this album is, you know, considered one of, like I said earlier, one of the greatest heavy metal records of all time. And it's compared alongside to Anthrax Among the Living, Megadeth's Peace Sells But Who's Buying, and of course Metallica's Master of Puppets. Now, all those records that I've just mentioned, if you've never read those, read those, you've never listened to those, I would highly recommend that you do. That's some of the best that metal has to offer. But back to Slayer and their iconic album of Rain and Blood. This album basically helped define the sound of the thrash metal scene at the time, especially during the mid-1980s, and it's really still influential to this time. So this is kind of the first time Slayer also entered the U.S. Billboard at the 200. They peaked at number 94, and this album was then certified gold in 1992. And in 2013, NME ranked it at number 287 and listed as one of the 500 greatest albums of all time. And in their 2017 listing of the 100 greatest metal bands of all time, Rolling Stone magazine ranked Rain and Blood as number 6. So a little bit kind of more backstory on it. Slayer composed the material for Rain and Blood following their return from the tour of Europe. And guitarist Kerry King and Jeff Hanneman wrote much of the album's music on their own and quickly taught it to drummer Dave Lombardo. And the band recorded instrumental demos of the songs, which King described as just the best 10 songs we had at the point, and took them to Brian Slaggett, the band's manager at the time. And pretty much following this, positive reception of Hell Awaits, the band's producer was like, we can kind of capitalize on this, and we can blow this out, to big time, like you're gonna hit the big times basically. So Brian Slaggett Slaggett negotiated with several record labels. Among them was Rick Rubin and Russell Simone's Def Jam's Recording. However, Slaggett was reluctant to have the band signed to what was a hip-hop label, which, if you think about it, that's kind of awkward. But Slayer Dave Lombardo was made aware of Rubin's interest, and he initiated contact with the producer. However, Slayer's remaining members were apprehensive of leaving Metal Blade Records, with whom they were already under contract. So Lombardo contacted Columbia Records, which was Jeff Jam's distributor, and managed to get in touch with Rubin, and along with photographer Glennie Friedman, agreed to attend one of their band's concerts. And at this time, Friedman had produced Suicidal Tendencies' self-debut album, in which Slayer vocalist Tom Araya made a guest appearance on, as well as in the music video for the album single, Institutionalized. One second. Sorry. There you go. Didn't want that fan to come on and blow it all up now. So, guitarist Jeff Hanneman was surprised that Rubin's interest in the band, was really impressed by all this, and because they basically work with hip-hop acts, Run DMC, LL Cool J. But during this visit, Brian was at a European music convention, and he spoke with the band directly and persuaded them to sign with Def Jam. Slagle paid a personal tribute to Rubin and said that Rubin was the most passionate of all the label representatives the band were in negotiation with, and following this agreement, Friedman brought the band members to Seattle for 2 days of publicity shots and possible record shots and photos of tour books. Rubin felt no photos of the band had been taken before that point. One of the photos was used on the back cover of my personal favorite album, South of Heaven, which came out in 1988. However, the cover artwork of Rain and Blood here, it's very iconic, of course, but it was designed by Larry Carroll, who at the time was creating political illustrations for the Progressive, Vigilance Voice, and the New York Times. Carroll was hired at Rubin's behest, and despite its warm reception, the band members themselves actually did not like this. They didn't like it at all, and King is quoted by saying, and I quote, "Nobody in the band wanted the cover. We were stuck with it." He even described the artist as warped, demented freak, although Carroll went on to make cover arts for their next 2 albums, South of Heaven and Seasons in the Abyss. as well as Christ Illusion. So, by a differing account, Ira recalled that he thought it was amazing and liked it immediately. He also stated that there were 3 different variations of the album covering the conceptual stages, with the final version incorporating elements of all 3. And it was believed that Columbia Records initially refused to release Rain and Blood because of the disturbing imagery, and Ira refuted this claim in 2016, saying that it was because of the song Angel of Death, and it had nothing to do with the cover art. Although the album received no radio play, this was the band's first release to enter the Billboard 200, where it debuted at number 127 and attained a peak position of 94 in its 6th week. The album also received number 47 on the UK album chart, and on November 20th, 1992, it was certified gold in the US. So, as you can see, freaking awesome record. And, this is like, let's see, this has got some of their heavy hitters here. We got what? We got Angel of Death. The, side 1, record A starts off with Angel of Death. Then we move in by piece. Then we get to Necrophobic. Then my personal finishers, Altar of Sacrifice with Jesus Saves. Then side 2 starts with Criminally Insane, Reborn. We get to Epidemic and Postmortem, and then we finish it off with Raining Blood, which, come on. I mean, almost, every single song on this album is perfect. I don't think there's a bad song on this album whatsoever. It's really, a masterpiece, and it's not too long of a record, to be honest with you. I mean, you could pop this bad boy in, and you're looking at about maybe 36 minutes, maybe 40. Like, it's a really fast, great album to listen to. And if you're trying to get into Slayer, I would recommend this. I mean, this is a good starting point. I am very partial to their first 2 albums as well. That like proto black metal sound is just really amazing to me, and it's just a good fun time. I've never had a bad time listening to Slayer. It's great for Halloween parties, which is coming up. I cannot wait. Spooky month is upon us. But anyways, so just to kind of add a little bit more to this video, because there's not much more to really talk about. I wish I could just like listen to the whole album. We could discuss it and break it down piece by piece, and be reborn and become criminally insane and face the Angel of Death, monarch to the kingdom of the dead. But yeah, unfortunately, some sick, disturbing people ended up murdering someone and blaming it on the song Altar of Sacrifice. And, Slayer's response was like, well, we're not telling you to worship the devil and sacrifice people to him. We're actually warning you that there's evil out there that does believe in this kind of stuff and, does these horrific things. That's the whole point of the band, is that they point about how evil humanity can be and how worst of the worst that we can, kind of fall and degrade into. And it's also kind of poking fun at Hollywood and Hollywood Satanism and all of them and all of that stuff. So, Slayer's really awesome. I can't recommend them enough. You'll have a great time with this album. It's so awesome. It's definitely one of their best albums. It's one of my faves of the thrash metal of that time period. I definitely would prefer this over Master of Puppets. Now, that's not to say that Master of Puppets isn't good. I actually really much love that. And stay tuned for me reviewing that album, because I have a lot to say about that album as well. But just in case you're wondering, yeah, my very favorite Slayer album is South of Heaven, and I will eventually do, a breakdown of that album as well. Well, I know this video is kind of short and not as long, but I'm not going to drag it out like that, Ultimate Edgelord Melkor does, Emperor Melkor does. But I just wanted to make a quick little video, hang out with you guys. I haven't had time to put on the mask and hang out. So look forward to making more content with you all. I've got a couple more videos coming out soon. Another unboxing video that's pertaining to The Creature from the Black Lagoon. I have a manga review that will either come out right after this video, or it came out before. We'll see how that all pans out. But until the meantime, you all stay salty and stay spooky and all that jazz, and I will see you very soon. Fucking Slayer!